Do you ever feel like the standard descriptions of autism and ADHD don't really describe your experience? Maybe a lot of it sounds familiar, but something still feels off. That's because AuDHD isn't simply autism and ADHD in the same brain. Instead, when ADHD and autism coexist, they interact, creating a third experience that doesn't quite fit either one on its own. Now, consider what happens when you try to do something for the first time. For someone with ADHD, the details are usually not the main barrier. As long as the goal or expected outcome is clear, they can often figure things out as they go. The difficulty is getting started. Without urgency, interest, or pressure, initiation can feel impossible. But once they are motivated, momentum usually takes over. They'll start the task, working out the details as they go. It's not always linear. They might backtrack or miss steps. They might get frustrated or not be satisfied with the end result, but they can often finish. By contrast, with autism, ambiguity can feel paralyzing because the brain is working overtime trying to fill in the gaps. Predictability reduces that cognitive load and supports regulation. When each step is clear and the sequence makes sense, tasks can be completed confidently and effectively. With AuDHD, neither approach works. Jumping in without a plan fails because the lack of clarity quickly becomes overwhelming when there's no clear right way forward. But fully planning things out doesn't work either because you lose interest before the plan is complete. You may understand the expected result and have the skills to get there, but you just can't complete your work. Instead, you spend time on tasks that feel necessary in the moment, even when they aren't aligned with what needs to happen next. You may stay with a task far longer than intended because you can't tell when a step is complete enough to move on. Eventually, you assess your work and realize that you spent a lot of time on details that did not really matter, leaving you with little tangible progress. Over time, the gap between how much energy you put into something and the end result can start to feel like a personal failure. That same tension between autism and ADHD shows up in how you move through daily life as well. With autism, predictability is stabilizing. Sticking to consistent routines helps conserve energy for things that actually require effort. With ADHD, that rigidity can feel restrictive. With AuDHD, both needs are present at once. You might crave novelty when predictability feels too limiting, then find that too much change becomes overwhelming. In response, you fall back into familiar patterns even when they feel unfulfilling. You might stay in a secure job that doesn't really suit you or repeat the same habits day after day, not because you enjoy them, but because changing them feels like too much. You end up caught between wanting change and needing stability. New situations can feel manageable at first, but become difficult as the number of unknowns grow. Staying where you are doesn't feel right either. Over time, it becomes hard to tell whether you need more structure or less because neither option fully resolves the tension. You're left constantly recalibrating without a clear sense of what actually helps. The interaction between autistic and ADHD traits is also evident in how we communicate. For some with ADHD alone, they might dive into conversations without thinking it through, but because they can read the room, they're often able to adjust and navigate out of whatever situation they got themselves into. With autism, real-time conversations are hard to manage. It can be very difficult to understand intent and identify appropriate responses at the speed of a typical conversation. Because of that, many autistic people script scenarios or observe others before engaging. They're cautious about interactions because depending on the audience, they can feel risky. With AuDHD, ADHD can get you into situations that your autism can't get you out of. You might jump into a conversation unprepared, and unlike someone with ADHD alone, you can't recover in the moment. You're still processing what just happened with the conversation that has already moved on. And by the time you figured out what went wrong, it's too late to fix it. This dynamic also impacts how emotions are expressed. For someone with ADHD alone, they usually know what they're feeling, but may express it too quickly without thinking through timing or intensity. With autism, emotions often take longer to identify and articulate, not because they're absent, but because they require time to fully process. With AuDHD, emotions can come out before you're ready to communicate them. They may come across too strong or not fully reflect what you're actually feeling. And suddenly, you're in a situation that requires an emotional conversation you're not prepared for about feelings you haven't even finished processing. Now, these are just a few examples, but the pattern is the same. ADHD and autism show up in the same moments, each getting in the way of each other. That's AuDHD, not autism and ADHD running in parallel. No, AuDHD is what happens when autism and ADHD interact. Once you understand this interaction, you can stop measuring yourself against descriptions that were never meant to capture your experience. You're not failing at being autistic or ADHD. You're living something different, something that doesn't show up in either one individually. And that's okay. That's just what it means to be AuDHD. If this resonated, please consider becoming part of the AuDHD Hub community on Patreon. There are free resources and community spaces and paid options if you want additional support. The link is in the description down below. Thank you so much for being here today. I will see you next time.